Now, you might be looking forward to a roast this Sunday, but would you consider swapping that butcher's beef or supermarket chicken for roadside rabbit or deer?
Well, they're on the menu for mum of one, Laura Ansbro, who regularly serves up roadkill to her family. She says it's changed her life, and she joins us now.
Good morning.
And that's not just the only part of this.
No.
We'll come to that in just a second. So you had a marketing job, which you gave up, and you're a full-time mum to three-year-old Wilfie. This put a lot of pressure on your husband, Max, and so you decided that you were going to cut the family spending as much as possible. One of the areas that you cut it was food.
Absolutely.
And so how did you go about it? How do you get to roadkill?
Well, you often, particularly over the summer, see animals that have been hit by cars on the side of the road. And my husband used to be a gamekeeper many years ago, so he's very familiar with this kind of thing. And so he would go and have a look and say, yeah, it's fresh. So in the car it would go, and we'd take it home and prepare it, just as you would with, if you bought a whole bird from the butchers.
I mean, you really have to sort of know what you're doing. I mean, not anybody could just sort of pull up the car and then...
Yeah.
Only my worry would be making sure that it is fresh enough to eat.
Yeah.
I mean,
how long it's been there?
How long it's been there, or if there was something wrong with it, you just don't... You sort of do need to know what you're doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are there any rules?
Well, I think the fresh part is definitely the main thing, and we usually find that when we find anything that's fresh, it's first thing in the morning. So it's been hit overnight, which is quite natural because the driver may not be able to see an animal crossing the road. And then it's first thing in the morning, so the heat of the sun hasn't been on it, so it is fresh.
And you don't eat anything that's been squashed?
No, I wouldn't go scraping it up off the road. It's just if it's been bumped.
What have you eaten?
We've had deer, we've had pheasant, we've had rabbit, not exactly roadkill, but once, as we were driving along, we saw a pigeon fall from the sky. It had been electrocuted by an overhead power line.
Already cooked?
Gosh.
It wasn't already cooked. It was a feathers were a bit singed, but
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
And so what does Wolfie think about all this? Is he happy to eat it all?
Well, he's really happy.
Does he know? Does he obviously knows that he's eating venison or whatever it is, but does he know it's come from the side of the road?
Yeah, he was something that we would be quite open with him about, and kind of to use it for road safety. Yeah, that got hit by a car.
Yeah.
It's dead now, but we're going to eat it, and obviously.
So that's one side of it.
Yeah.
The other side of it, and this really is remarkable, is the way you shop, because you still go to supermarkets, and you're sort of, where you live, you're positioned between 5 different supermarkets.
Yeah.
So you will shop around for the cheapest products and produce.
Absolutely.
And you've got some tips on how to do this to the best.
Yeah, so we shop primarily for reduced section food. So this is food that is going out of date on that day. And in the evenings, the supermarkets mark it down to really, really low prices.
So what's a good time to go to your supermarket if you want to do this?
I think it varies a little between supermarkets and between, where you are. But we find 7:30 in the evenings a really good time to go to get the great bargain.
This is a full-on routine now.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of us will be putting our son to bed, and the other of us will go out, do the rounds, the little tour of the supermarkets that are near us, and pick up all the bargains.
Well, in front of us here, we've got jam donuts, spring onions, kiwi, mushrooms, broccoli, leeks, plums, seedless grapes and sweet potatoes. So we've had a look at all of these this morning, all perfectly edible, lovely, a little bit of curl on the salad, the spring onions there.
That's, I think, might be the lights.
If you were to go out and buy that, it would cost you £12.39. You paid £2.37.
I mean, that's extraordinary.
It's such an amazing saving, isn't it?
It's a huge saving. And I guess the thing with this is it that, because we're so used to shopping in supermarkets and reading the labels, that we've lost touch with that part of us that knows what it's like to look at a piece of food, smell a piece of food, touch a piece of food, and know whether or not it's fresh enough to eat?
Yeah, and I just feel like that sometimes the best before dates on fruit and vegetables are a little arbitrary. You don't pick an apple from a tree and it's got a date stamped on it. That's something that the shops have, they have to do for their stock control reasons, and that's understandable. But it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it. And so, we do look. That's the most important thing, is making sure it's still okay to eat.
Well, it's a very French or European way of looking at food, isn't it? I mean, I was going to say that about Wolfie and the roadkill, is that he knows where his food comes from.
Yeah.
It's not packaged up surgically in a supermarket,
Absolutely.
so you're distance from where it used to be an animal type of thing. But as far as fruit and veg are concerned, that European thing where you go to the supermarket or you go to the market and you feel things, you test stuff
Give it a
out, smell it.
And when you peel it, you can see whether there's any bits that are a bit bruised or whether it's completely fine, which most of the time it absolutely is.
And you're writing a blog?
Yes, yeah.
Aren't
I
you?
started the blog because I just felt like so many people could benefit from this. So many people don't know the savings that you could make.
Millennial
Hunter-gatherer.
hunter-gatherer
Yeah.
is the blog. What do your friends and family say?
Well, they're just amazed by the amount of money that we save, and we still have friends and family over for dinner, and we still shop like this when we're going to cook for them. And I always get compliments on my cooking, which is really nice. So it hasn't degraded the quality of what we're eating.
Are they wary if you make a pie?
I don't think so. Nobody's ever
What's
looked at it.
what's in this?
Yeah. So no, nobody's said anything.
Because you're also clever with buying and pre-preparing and
Yes.
freezing.
Yeah, so a bit of batch cooking and a bit of, might blanch some vegetables to freeze because, it just saves a bit of time for a busy weeknight. It saves a bit of money on a week when things feel a bit tight, and it saves things from going to waste as well.
And you hate waste. Your husband particularly hates waste.
Yeah, well, we're both really passionate about it, and when you know that if this stuff isn't sold on the evening that it's marked down, it will go in the bin.
Yeah.
I know, that is shocking.
It's awful, isn't it? And so now I've gone from, I really quite like to eat those grapes to, if I don't buy these 4 punnets of grapes, they're all going in the bin. So I have to buy all 4 and
Use them.
Use them.
What's for dinner tonight?
Well, I think now that these have been under the lights, I'm going to try and get these used quite quickly. So we've got some mushrooms and some leeks and some broccoli there, and I know I've got some cheese sauce left over from the other night when I made a bit too much, so I might just cook those and then do some pasta and cheese sauce with them. So just a nice, simple, quite quick and easy for a weeknight.
Well, I'm very impressed. I really am.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
It is really great. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Happy
indeed.
birthday to Wilfie next week.
Thank
He's gonna be
you.
4, isn't he?
Yeah, he will.